Right, we're going to have a look at the Passé Composé with être. Now, the Passé Composé is also known as the perfect tense. So you may see it as the perfect tense with être, or in French it's le Passé Composé with être. Okay, and it's your normal past tense, which means I have done something or I did something. So let's do I have gone or I went. Okay, that's both from the verb to go in English. I have gone or I went. So it's your normal past tense. But let's start with a little reminder. Normally, and there is another video on your playlist on how to form the past tense, the passé composé with avoir, which is your normal way of forming the past tense. Okay, so we'll do it with avoir. This is your normal way. So we had a look at how to form a past participle. Let's just put that up there. Past participles. So a past participle is, in English, usually ends in ed. So I watched, I waited, I finished. Okay, that ed ending is a past participle. And in French, we have 3 different types of verb. So we had our er verbs, like for example, manger, which means to eat. To make that ate or eaten, we're going to take off that infinitive ending, the er, and add an e acute. So for example, let's have a look at I have eaten. You need your subject first, je. Then you need your avoir part, the auxiliary, which means I have. And then you need your past participle, eaten, mange. So we're going to take off the er ending and add an e acute instead. Manger. J'ai mangé. I have eaten, or I ate. So that's your normal past tense. Another one, if we looked at, say, how you say you. You have will be tu as. Note the avoir form changes to match the subject. Watched, regardez. So we've got regardez, usually has er on the end, so we're going to take that off to make it into a past participle. Watched. Tu as regardé. You have watched, or you watched. Remember, there are 2 past tenses in English, but only 1 in French. So tu as regardé, you have watched, or you watched. Right, the 2 other types of verbs then we have are ir and er. Re. So we're talking about the ending here. Okay, so these ir, finir means to finish. So to make it finished, we're going to take off the ir ending and add just an I on its own. Attendre, to wait. Take off the re ending, add a u, and you have waited, attendu. So a couple more examples. Let's look at he finished, or he has finished. So your subject is he, il. The correct form of avoir, a, il a, and then finished, we need finir, but we need to take off the ir and just have an I on the end. Il a fini. He has finished. Let's do one more with attendre. So let's do she waited. She waited. So we've got elle. Then we need our auxiliary. A. She has. This is your avoir. She has. Elle a. And the verb attendre. But we take off the re and we add a u. Elle a attendu. She has waited, or she waited. So that was a little reminder of your normal passé composé, your normal perfect tense using avoir. Let's keep the past participles up there. And then we're going to take away this avoir, and we're going to have a look at the passé composé with être. Now, there are just a few verbs, not very many, a few verbs that use être to form their past tense. And I'm going to give you a list. I'm going to give you 16 of them, so you may want to copy these down into your book if you don't have them already. So there are 16 verbs which use être instead of avoir, and they're generally to do with movement. So to go, to come, to arrive, to leave. Verbs like that. All right, and we're going to remember them with a little mnemonic. Let's give them a different colour. So, you may have heard of this before. We're going to use Dr. and Mrs. Oh, I've just written it like a sentence. Dr. and Mrs. Van der Tramp. I'm not going to be able to fit them all on. I'm going to put P over here somewhere. Dr. and Mrs. Van der Tramp. You have to remember it goes around the corner. Right, Dr. and Mrs. Van der Tramp. So let's fill them in. Right, the D is devenir. I'll give you the... I'm not having a good day with spelling. I'll give you the meanings in a minute. Devenir, revenir. Monter, rentrer. Sortir, venir. Gosh, concentrate. Venir, aller, naître, descendre, entrer, retourner, tomber, rester, mourir. Oh, sorry, that's A. Arriver. Arriver, mourir. And the last one, I'm going to move that along a bit actually because I need a bit more room. The last one is the P. Sorry, he can't fit on there. Is partir. Right. So you may want to pause and copy these into your books because you're going to need to know these. Let's put in the meanings. Devenir means to become. Revenir means to come back, to go home. So just say to come back for now. Monter means to go up. Rentrer means to go home. Sortir means to go out. Venir means to come. Aller is to go. Naître is to be born. Descendre is to go down. Entrer is to enter or go in. Retourner is to return. Tomber is to fall. Rester is to stay. Arriver is to arrive. Mourir is to die. And partir is to leave. Okay. So you see what I mean about the movement. It's to come back, to go up, to go home, to go out, to come, to go. Okay, they're all generally to do with some form of movement. Right, so those are our verbs. all of these verbs here, instead of using avoir, like we just looked at, they're going to use être to form the past tense. So you need to know your verb être, which I'm sure you all do. But they're going to follow the same structure. So you're going to have your subject, then your auxiliary, and then your past participle. Okay, just the same as the other avoir ones. So subject, let's start with I, je. So instead of having, before we had j'ai, J apostrophe A-I, instead of that, we're going to use être. That's the main difference. Je suis. Je suis. And then your past participle. Let's use aller, because that's a good common one. Je suis allé. Like that. Je suis allé. So that's the main difference, your auxiliary here. Let's have a look at you. Tu, we need to know our verb être. So je suis, tu es. Literally, it means I am gone, you are gone. Instead of I have gone, we say I am gone. Tu es, let's say to arrive. So you arrived. So we've got arriver here. Tu es. We're going to take off the ER ending to make our participle, past participle, and we're going to put that one on the end. Tu es arrivé. Good. Let's just go through the auxiliaries here and make sure you know your verb être. So je suis, tu es, we'll have il, elle, or on, he, she, or one, est. And then it will be the same past participle. Nous is going to be sommes. Nous sommes arrivés. Vous, you, this is we, and this is you all, you plural. Vous êtes. Vous êtes allés, vous êtes arrivés. And then the last one is they. Ils or elles. And then it's sont. Ils sont allés. Elles sont arrivées. So that's what you need. You need your être auxiliary, and then the past participle just the same as with avoir, and the subject's the same. Right. There's one other thing. I'm going to put it in a little box over here. There's one other thing. When you're using être, with your, let's say, with être, your past participle has to agree. It becomes almost like an adjective. So it's going to agree with the subject. So if the subject, the person who's doing the verb, is female, we're going to add an E onto the participle. If it's plural, we're going to add an S. So let's just park that there for a moment and we'll do some examples. I need some space. My board's not big enough. So we'll just park that there and then let's have a look. So say we have, here's our little boy. Okay, that's a boy. Okay. And he wants to say, I went, or I have gone. So he's going to say I, then the auxiliary is the être form, je suis, and then the verb to go, aller. Je suis allé. Nice and straightforward, like that. But what happens when his friend, who is a girl, wants to say the same thing? He said, je suis allé. She is female. Now, with être, the past participle needs to agree. So she's going to say, je suis, past participle, allé, but she's feminine. So she needs to add another E on the end of the past participle like that. That's it. Just makes it agree. Je suis allé. Because it sort of means literally, I am gone, it's describing her. What are you? I'm gone. So it's like an adjective, and that's why it's agreeing. Je suis allé. All right, what if she went out with her friends? Let's do a little plural. Here's two of them. Okay, so this is plural. They're going to say, we went. So we is nous. Then we need the correct form of être. Nous sommes. And then we need our past participle of went, the verb to go. Nous sommes allés. Now, they're both female. Okay, so we need to add a female onto the end, an E. And they're also plural because it's we went, plural, more than one person. So we need to add an S as well. Okay, nous sommes allés. It sounds the same. Je suis allé, nous sommes allés. Sounds the same, but in the written it's different. What if we had two male subjects? Okay, I should have done them in red, shouldn't I? Make it match. Okay, so they're going to say nous, we are, nous sommes allés. Now they're male, so we don't need to add another E, but they're plural, there's two of them. So we do need another S. Nous sommes allés. Okay. Last one of these then. Let's have our male subject and our female subject going together. Then what do we do? Because we've got male and female. Okay, so again it's we, because there are two of them. Nous sommes. Okay, and then it's definitely plural. Okay, because there's two of them, so we're going to need an S. But do we need the E? The answer is no. When it's mixed, male and female, the verb or the adjective just follows the feminine form. No, the masculine form. Sorry, the masculine form. So mixed will be masculine. So nous sommes allés, we don't need an extra E, but we do need an S because they're plural. We went. Nous sommes allés. So just an S. So the only time you're going to have the ES is if it's only female. Right, there's a few examples then of this, of how this works. The last thing, most of these past participles are regular, but as always, there are a few irregulars. So let's see. I'm going to note them down for you. The most common irregular past participle, venir, with IR. You would think it goes veni, but it doesn't. It goes venu. Venu. So the other ones that match it, the venir, revenir, and devenir, are going to be the same. So they're going to be devenu, and I'm going to put it in there, revenu. Like that, devenu and revenu. Which other irregular ones have we got? Naître, to be born. Its past participle is né. So obviously if it's feminine, you're going to add on an E. And if it's plural, you're going to add on an S. And the same goes for this one. E, S. One last one that's irregular is mourir, to die. Its past participle is mort. Dead. Okay. The rest are all regular. So let's just do one last little practice. Let's do let's try an IR and an ER because they're slightly different. How about we would say I went. Let's be masculine. Or I left. I left. Here's partir, to leave. Partir, to leave. We've got a masculine. So je suis. Partir. Okay, it's an IR. So how are we going to form the past participle? Take off the IR and put an I on its own. Je suis parti. Je suis parti. Okay, let's have a little if you were female. Okay, je suis partie. But what do we need to add? With feminine, we need to add an E. What if these two went off together? We want to say they went. They went. So they is il. It's not going to be elle because we've got a male and a female. Mixed will be il. They. Ils sont. They left. Partis. Ils sont partis. It's plural, so we need to add an S on the end of there. Ils sont partis. Okay, if she went out with her sister, so we've got two females. Oh, I haven't got time to do their arms. We've got two females, then they are going to be they, elles, sont, parties. Elles sont parties, feminine, plural. Elles sont parties. Okay? So whether it's an ER past participle, an IR or an RE, it's still going to agree, just like that. It's going to add on the E and the S. And it's because of this être in the middle, which I am left. It turns it into an adjective and it has to agree. So there's a lot of information, but it's just a matter of working your way through it step by step. When you're making a past tense, I went, I ate, I watched, I arrived. Okay, you just need to check first of all, is it one of these 16 verbs to do with movement? And if it is, instead of using avoir, j'ai mangé, j'ai regardé, you're going to swap it to être. Je suis arrivé, je suis allé. And when you do that, you need to remember to make your past participle agree with the subject, adding either an E, an S, or an E and S, if they're feminine or plural. And that's it. It's just a matter of remembering these, really. This is the most important thing, so that you know that if you're going to say, I arrived, you're not going to say j'ai arrivé, you're going to say je suis arrivé. And if you're going to say I entered, je suis entré, not j'ai entré. Okay, it's just a matter of learning which 16 verbs use être, and then swapping out your avoir and using être instead as your auxiliary. And finally, remembering your agreement. Right, the last thing I just wanted to do was have just a quick run through this exercise that you're doing then, that's in the book. You've got your explanation at the top about using être instead of avoir and putting E or S onto the past participle. And then you've got two exercises. Now this one is looking at forming the passé composé with être. So you've got to put the right form, the right auxiliary in here, the right form of être, and then choose the right past participle. So the first one, for example, je, your auxiliary is going to be the correct form of être. Je suis, and then you're going to choose partie with an E or partie with an S. Well, E is feminine, so it's quite possible that je is feminine. S is plural. So je, I, cannot be plural. I is only one person. So it can't be this one, so it must be feminine. Je suis partie. So you're going to go down each one. Tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, ils sont, elles sont. You're going to put your right form of être in the gap and then choose the correct past participle. So if you look at number 5, nous, put in the correct form of être, then look at the two options for the past participle. E acute on its own is singular, with an S is plural. Nous means we. We is plural. Okay, so you're going to have to go with one with an S. Nous sommes allés with an S. So that's what you've got to do for those. Put in the auxiliary and then choose the correct past participle. This one brings together your perfect tense, your passé composé, with être and avoir. So it's a mixture of both. You have to decide which verb to use and whether it uses avoir or être in the past tense. So for each of these, you have to decide which would be the best verb. So if we look down here, for example, here I guess is a knife and fork and a plate on a tablecloth. I'm going to guess that. That means we ate in a restaurant. Okay, so après, afterwards, on, we, or one, say here it's going to be we, on, and then you're going to say we ate. So manger. It's not a verb of motion. It's not one of our Dr. and Mrs. Van der Tramp verbs. It's just a standard avoir past participle, avoir past tense. Après, on a mangé dans un restaurant, for example. Okay, here again, the television, I'm going to guess that's I watched television or I watched a film or something like that. Regarder, standard verb. You're going to use avoir, j'ai regardé. You're just going to have to choose then where there might be ones which use être. So I'm having a look. Here you could have, this is bateau mouche, one of the tour buses on the tour boats that go up and down the river Seine in Paris. So you could say I went on a bateau mouche. Je suis allé en bateau mouche. You could have I went up the Eiffel Tower. To go up, monter. Je suis monté la Tour Eiffel. Okay, but it could also be j'ai visité la Tour Eiffel. I visited. J'ai visité. Or I went up. Je suis monté. Okay, so you're just going to have to go through and for each picture fill in the gap with whichever verb you think, but just be careful as to whether you think they use avoir or être. Right. Hopefully that works out okay. You've got the answers anyway, so have a look and just check that you understand what they've put there for the correct answers, even if it's slightly different from what you've put. All right. Any questions, just drop me a message on Show My Homework.